Legendary.
Hey guys, Torus sent me this. It's Horizon Lunar Colony. It starts on defense. It includes offense. If this video doesn't take too long, I will do both. But for the sake of time, I'm going to start with the first one, which is defense. It was 4.5 minutes into the game when Torus hit tab. So these are the team comps 4.5 minutes in. I don't think they changed much. The enemy team, the offensive team, is running triple DPS with 2 hit scan, Genji, double tank, Rein Zarya, and Mercy. And we're running 2-2-2. We got Ryan and Hog, Soldier McCree, Mercy Zen. Pretty good, solid lineup. I'm gonna just talk about the map a little bit. Let's see.
Just based on that last match, I was like, something ain't right.
If I can get a good view of the point here. So, I want to talk about the map real quick in terms of high ground. So when this map came out, everyone, including myself, thought the high ground was the best defensive way to hold this point. But let's think about it for a minute. High ground spans from about over here, along this catwalk, all the way around this big long L over there, right? It's all up in this general area. Now there's this massive wall on the catwalk and these 2 big walls that are effectively barriers, and when you're defending on the high ground, you have hardly any advantage of the point itself. So if we're like holding upper left, the enemy team, if they're smart, can just come in on the lower right, get on the point, and instantly displace us. And vice versa. If we're holding up here, enemy team just takes the long way around, goes to point, and we can't do shit about it. So that's why it's smart to hold right on the point. Obviously you can hold high ground, but it's not ideal. So yeah, that being said, Ryan is really good here because this window right here, when you're up against a bunch of hit scan, that's just where 90% of the spam comes in. Especially when you're up against a Widow, it's really good to have either a Ryan or a Risa. Torus does a really good job of keeping this hole guarded. One thing I want to mention though is he doesn't check the team comp and he doesn't track ults like at all this game. And as a main tank, that's something that you should really be doing. Because as a main tank, you're often controlling the tempo of the fight. So I just wanted to mention that. Keeping track of ults, checking the enemy comps, making sure they're not switching, all that shit's really important. I often hit tab after every fight just to take inventory of what we got. What abilities we can use next fight, making sure they're not doing any hard swaps, things like that. So, I was talking, but Torus did a good job of passively guarding his team. Right here, he probably shouldn't have been swinging. Right, the Ryan was in his face, and he can swing through the barrier, so Torus may have died either way. But he did have a full shield, and What a Geek was standing behind him. So who knows, maybe What a Geek could have gotten a hook or something, and maybe he would have lived. Minor thing. Oops, wrong button. Hello. So this is shortly after I messed up, but this is where they lose the point. That Zarya was way too high charge, and that Mercy was just pocketing her. She just farmed the team and got grabbed. We should have killed the Zarya and Mercy, but we didn't. But she built a grab, fired that shit off, so at least we should be able to stabilize here on second. A couple things about second point, and a couple things about 2CP in general. Second point is all about team wipes. When you're on offense, you want to wipe the defensive team. That's how you can like almost guarantee a cap. So characters like Zarya are really strong offensively on second point because grab is a really good team wiping ability. That's why you'll also see Genji a lot on second point, like Anubis, because Genji can get a lot of work done. Sorry, I was getting a phone call. So yeah, they're going to be running a Zarya here, so we need to be conscientious of the grab and make sure that we're countering it. Also, holding up here is extremely important when they have hit scan, because if we don't have anything to contest up here, then we have to dedicate resources to this high ground while we're trying to do a fight on the point. And that always ends really badly. So when you have a Rein,
I think I thought I did.
It's generally pretty good to try and take a fight up here. Take as many fights as you can. Discourage them from taking the high ground, if you can. Obviously it's not the easiest thing to do, but in this match we do a fairly good job of doing it. What a Geek spends most of the time on the point, which is smart by him. He has a lot of solo sustain, so he can deter any back capping, and obviously he has the hook. That's a pretty good shatter. Just barely missed that Mercy with the final swing. That would have been good, but that was just unlucky.
I'm gonna keep you on the point. Down the point. Okay.
If you noticed, Torus still hasn't hit tab yet. It's good to know what ults your team is acquiring and about to use. Both teams had a lot of ults here, so it's just kind of back and forth. That was a good pin on the Mercy. That was a really good pin on the Mercy. So yeah, that's over. We did a good job of keeping them off the high ground, which I think is the major victory in that fight. Because they just didn't really know what to do. That was good. So he's got shatter, low shield, gotta back off. That was a good block. Mercy's low.
Mercy's discorded. Zarya's discorded.
That was a really good pin. That's definitely a good thing to do for reses. It's also really good to do when Doomfist ults. Because you can block it with your shield, so you can just walk up to it with your right click held down. As soon as he hits the ground, you just hit shift and you pin him and kill him. But yeah, that was good. That was a good pin.
Oh, I got a Valkyrie again. And gold damage. Or gold healing play.
They have a song right now.
Ult.
Sombra? On the right, by a mini.
What the fuck is this? He backs off. He lost his shield and I told him to back up. So this is fine. They're starting to realize that they need to win this fight up here if they want to get any ground. So they're doing a good job of breaking the shield, keeping pressure. This Zarya is trying to build grav.
There are two people on the right side.
So we're running Zen Mercy. There, Zarya, who's about to have Grav. I probably wouldn't have used Trance here, because for the same reason I mentioned earlier, how strong Grav is on second point attacks. It's almost imperative that you just hold on to the Trance for the Grav. You'll see in a minute here why. Because at the end of the day, there's not much you can do about a good Grav. But you can hold on to a support ult, and oftentimes that's enough. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot you can do, right?
Dude, I really want to use my ult on.
So we're regrouping. Overall, everyone's having a good game.
Wait for him to land on a double jump.
Communication's strong. We're doing a good job holding this high ground.
Widow's peeking up early.
Here comes the Grav. Pretty much free. We don't have any support, or we don't have R1 support ult. Genji gets a 4K off the Grav. That's 2 CP.
Coordinated to be a random.
That is 2 CP. But like I said, we did a pretty good job. That's just kind of how second points go.
I mean, honestly.
I'm gonna fast forward this a bit. So this is our attack. Immediately afterwards, running a dive attack. I just want to briefly cover this. I'm running Genji, Ali is on D.Va, Torus obviously playing Winston, Oxbros doing Reaper stuff. So what I wanted to mention is Winston, D.Va, Genji is still like OP as shit, right? They changed D.Va a lot, but she still has one very unique ability, and that is that she can fucking fly. So when you combine that with Winston and Genji, you can do some crazy amount of work, especially on maps like this, and especially for a setup like this, because you'll notice that the enemy is holding the high ground defensively. So here we are grouping up, and the three of us decide we're going to take the high ground. Excellent jump by Torus. Turret's down, Widow's down, Ana's down already.
2 in the upper right.
Colty's doing a good job keeping us up. This is like super meta, by the way. Just this Mercy dive shit with the Zen. This is super duper meta. This is like what the pro teams are doing now. So that was really well executed. First fight, we were totally uncoordinated, but we just had to get one good dive, and it was GG. They have a main now. That was good by Torus. Very good, actually. He's got ult here, so he can play super confident, right? He knows that. And this is just turning into a snowball. That was a... Huh. Did you get hurt by that? Oh, he did. Man, I thought he got out of the line of sight. That was almost really dope. That was just unlucky, though. Alright. I got the Ana. I think they have a Mercy up. This is good control. It's really good that you're not using shift like a wild animal. You're actually like using shift the way it's intended to be used. So that was a good ult. Yeah, it's just kind of... I come back as soldier and I take the high ground here, and they have nothing for me. So now we're just kind of picking them off one by one. And
Nice, dude.
they don't really know what to do.
Good on point, good on point.
They're not challenging the high ground, so I'm just standing up there firing away at everyone. Which is actually an insane amount of pressure if you think about it. That was a good bubble. Torb's just desperate. Augsbro's popping off.
Nice, bubble.
I was smashing it.
We're just trying to get that last tiny bit.
Come on, May. May down. Come on, Tracy.
Not much to analyze here, it's just 2 CP shit.
Nice job, guys.
Yeah, that was really well executed.
Good job.
Yeah. So thanks for watching. This was a great VOD, Torus. Thank you again. Please keep sending them. I will keep doing them for everyone. I hope you learned a lot. And yeah, thanks for watching again.